It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
Can you hear me? Can you see me? Yes, you can. Scotty Swingler getting us up and running here. We are in Flower Mound today. The Pete Sousa Show rolls on. We don't stop for anything, and there's plenty to talk about on this Friday morning. We will start. Look at this. We already got a Wreckham in there. All right, let's go. Let's go. I saw jerseys online. People selling the Texas Tech jerseys with the Big 12 patch on them, which is pretty cool. The Big 12 championship patch, which I don't even know if you would ever actually wear those. They must just have the Big 12 patch, not the Big 12 championship patch, right? But yeah, so excited for Texas Tech in a few weeks. Super excited for, the games coming up in exactly 2 weeks from now. And super excited to talk to Christian Fauria coming up here in a little bit, former New England Patriot now. Does an amazing job as a football analyst. I was watching he does a bunch of stuff in Boston now with Ernie Adams, the old director of football ops for the New England Patriots. It's on CBS Sports in Boston. I mean, they call it Bert and Ernie because Steve Burton is the Boston sports guy, and it's Ernie Adams, and they say Bert and Ernie with Fauria. It's really good. So check that out if you get a chance. Thanks again for watching. We're presented by Slovakics. Of course, we are Crawford Austin Properties. So thankful to them. Socorro Family Ford, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. My buddy Linda McMillan, a huge Texas Tech fan, sent me a note this morning about how fired up she is because we were breaking them down big time last night on Inside the 12, and she said she caught it on the tube and she was stoked. So, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff happening around Big 12 football, of course, around the NFL, and there's also some bad stuff happening with Sherrone Moore, where that stands, where it's going. The situation continues to develop. I took in a ton of stuff last night, and it's worse than we thought, really. That's what it seems like. The impression I get from like devouring all kinds of content is that it would appear that this relationship he had with this staffer, right, who worked for him, which was investigated by the university over the summer, at which time he and the staffer both said, no how, no way. And the University of Michigan and their athletic director, Ward Manuel, had really nothing to go on. So it was the end of it internally. And then, we've all seen or heard the 911 tape or read it, at least the call. And, the complainant victim says that she's been stalked by this guy for months now. And, conventional wisdom tells you that she walked down, or this is what this guy, John U. Bacon, said. He's a Michigan historian, and certainly seemed like he was beyond informed on the situation and, of course, the context with the university, that she went to the Hill. Apparently, that is where the university offices are, and, presented the screenshots and all the stuff that would eventually become irrefutable evidence. And so, and then that kicks off the tailspin of, Sherrone Moore right now still being held in jail and will be arraigned this afternoon. As far as coaches are concerned for Michigan right now, again, I spoke yesterday about the frustration I have with the transactional and transient nature of college sports right now. Again, to hear that Kalen DeBoer is like a prime candidate for this, and to believe or understand that this is a job that he may take a hard look at, because it's become pretty clear that Michigan would like to take a hard look at him. The guy is in the college football playoff at Alabama, previously thought to be one of the best jobs, a destination job in college football. And it appears he would be ready to exit stage left for this job at Michigan, certainly on par with the job at Alabama. And if Kalen DeBoer were to leave and go to Michigan, that leaves a vacancy at Alabama. And then guess what? Then we're talking about Lane Kiffin being on the move again. This is very, very real. If that Alabama job opens up, do not put it past Lane Kiffin, who as of right now is scheduled to play his first game back in Oxford on September 12th. So maybe if he wants to just get out of that, we can see when Alabama plays him. And he can kick the can down the road. That's a job that we know he has always wanted. That's a job that when the Saturday night of the day that Kiffin said, following the Iron Bowl, I will make a public decision on whether I'm staying or leaving, great sources, including my man McShay, talked about the fact that he did not make an announcement until after that Iron Bowl game. And the thought process there was, is Alabama going to lose? Will there be a knee-jerk reaction to fire DeBoer? And would that open up the job and possibly see a phone call going to Lane Kiffin? So, we may have not seen the last of all this. And I'm telling you, yeah, look, this is a great post right here or message. College football is getting exactly what it deserves, and that is unfortunate. Thank you very much for that note, Brian. And like, look, I'm telling you, something is brewing here. Like, I am frustrated, and I've been very I've asked myself a lot of questions, and I talked about it yesterday. Am I getting older? Am I getting crotchetier? Or yeah, all those things are true, right? But at the same time, I do believe that like something's happening to college football that has never happened before, and that has put a sour taste in my mouth. And with all the stuff I do, I have every reason to love the sport. I'm not sure what lies ahead. I think we're going to have a super conference. I think anybody that's curious should go watch the interview we had with Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports, legendary college football writer. It's up on YouTube now. It continues to collect a ton of views. And there's a good reason for that, because he's very informed and he's got a very interesting sourced up opinion on what will come of college football. One last thing I want to talk to you about before we get to Christian. Last night I watched the entirety. Christy and I watched the Stuart Scott Booyah, 30 for 30. Couple things. This is, much as I don't like this term, this is a super hot take. Stuart Scott was the first influencer of all time. The first reality TV star. I mean, you could say when I was a kid, there was The Real World, and that kind of broke through with the reality TV. But watching that Stuart Scott documentary last night, he was constantly chronicling what he was doing. And a lot of this was for the woman that he would eventually marry. I think they had like a long distance thing. So he would like send her VHS tapes. So the guy was definitely a romantic. But it was like, he was hilarious. He was very funny, very self-deprecating. And it's not like there was something very pure about what he was producing. And that documentary took us behind the scenes and showed us all those videos. And Stuart Scott was like a game changer. You know, when I'm in college, Stuart Scott ends up at ESPN. And the drastic change and shift for me as a viewer who was a young dude at the time, and being on the football team at Richmond, like you're around a lot of different personalities, you know, the cultures are brought to a locker room, which make locker rooms awesome. But like you could kind of feel that everybody was like celebrating this new guy. Some people didn't like it, but those people can kind of kick rocks, you know, and it showed that he was up against it a lot. So I think that it was a real cool look at the seismic shift that broadcasting took when Stuart Scott landed in our living rooms. But also, man, he was just a super cool dude. He believed in himself. His energy was amazing. He wouldn't let anything stop him. And cancer, right? The ultimate MFer. Stopped my brother, stopped him. It's like, you know, it's a fight we're going to be in forever, right? But yeah, that didn't stop him. His legacy still lives on. But the little thread I had through the whole thing was he was our first influencer, and I wish he was our last, but he was the best. All right, we're coming back with Christian Fauria. So much stuff to talk to him about. Patriots, Bills coming up this weekend. I talked about his work that I was watching this morning on CBS Sports Boston, which is like phenomenal. I got to talk to him about his old teammate, Mike Vrabel.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Polo Neuro is a new kind of wearable. that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Stability.
Christian Fauria is dominating his post-career just like he did in real time during his career. We bring him in right now. He joins us. The former Patriot, former Colorado Buffalo, Christian Fauria. What's happening, bro?
I want to make sure these Super Bowl trophies are right in the picture, like just so everybody knows how cool I am, right, and how accomplished I am. This, so I give myself and the show some credibility.
Christian, well, you know what I know we're not going to find from listening to you recently? The hats and T-shirts you took home from divisional playoff games, which you said this week you wore them home, but you never know what happened.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like a comparison for them because I just, you get them, you're excited, but if you continually wear them or showcase them, then you're just kind of like validating that's like you're happy with it. You're like, that's as good as it gets. I guess I can equate it to like when I was in college and, guys would wear their sweatsuits, there's travel sweatsuits to bars and restaurants. Like, girls would find them more attractive because they were on the football team. That's kind of the way I think about it, So, but yeah, it's a cool milestone, but it's just not the goal, right? It's just one of the stepping stones to what is ultimately the Super Bowl mountain.
Hey, it beats the fact that you could also have them somewhere in a faraway continent or land if you lost the division and they had to send them over there. So
yeah,
right, it beats the alternative. When you talk about this opportunity for the Patriots to seal the deal on the division this season, I want to start from the beginning. Is this something when we kicked off in early September that you saw coming, knowing Mike Vrabel like you do?
Well, the one I knew, I want to go back and I'm trying to figure out like what I thought I had them around 8 or 9 wins respectively, like in it to the end, but then losing out to some of the other AFC dominant teams, like that have a longer history of success in winning with, Pro Bowl and Hall of Fame and MVP type quarterbacks like, Joe Burrow and, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. But it's been remarkable, quite frankly. And so I knew Mike was a great coach because you just saw it quickly in Tennessee. He just, and he'll use this phrase, he just connects really well with the players. And he's really smart. Like, he doesn't get enough credit for how smart he is. And then if you pair that with his passive aggressive, I want to pants you moment, like that is in him, that is inherently in him, right? He loves pantsing teams and pantsing coaches. And when I use that, I think we can all understand it. You're like, you're hanging out and somebody comes behind you and pantses you and everybody's laughing at you, right? That's what he does to coaches. He did it to Bill Belichick. He beat Bill at his own game, not because he's just a jerk, but because he studies, he finds loopholes, he understands the rule book. And then the other thing that endears his players to him is that they're part of the joke, right? They're part of these guys think they're better than us. They play the underdog role. They keep this little trick play or this, loophole rule in their back pocket. And then everybody knows it's coming. And when they come in, they use it against them. They actually changed, Pete, the timeout rule on field goals because of Mike. A lot of people don't know this. What Mike used to do is if you were trying to kick a game-winning field goal, he would, and they wouldn't have any timeouts. The team wouldn't have any timeouts. The defense wouldn't have any timeout. He would call timeout. And then the rest would run in and, hey, timeout. And then the other coach would be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, they don't have any timeouts, right? So they would forget. And that was his way of trying to ice the kicker without timeouts. I don't think anybody even recognizes that, but they changed the rule the next year. They don't call it the Mike Vrabel rule, but he used to do that to us in practice. And we would be like, yeah, you're such a dick. Like, quit it, And he would just laugh and giggle and that was just, but he was smarter than us, you're right? And so he knew what he was doing and he took advantage of it until somebody closed the loophole.
Do you have resentments against him for stealing some of your red zone touchdowns? Let's be real. Come on.
Thank you for bringing that up. Whenever I get an opportunity to talk about this, here's the thing. People think that he stole my touchdowns because I was the one scoring all the touchdowns. What people forget is that the Patriots, while I was there, Pete, drafted 2 tight ends in the first round in 3 years. So in 3 years, they drafted 2 tight ends in the first round. Ben Watson wasn't even on the goal line team when he was on our team. It's a first-round pick. So I still got my touches, but what was funny is that he took Dan Graham's touches. He took Ben Watson's touches. I remember sitting there on Friday, goal line install, and Mike would run into the room, and I'm like, here's Ben Watson and Dan Graham and me. And they're taking Ben off the field. Ben played for 1,000,000 years. He was a great player.
Yeah.
They took him off. It has nothing to do with Ben. It was Bill. So, Mike, listen, he saved our ass a bunch. So I give him credit for that. But it was Bill who was the jerk.
When you look at the way that Mike Vrabel is coaching right now to such great success, has there been a thread of his coaching philosophy that you've been able to identify as something that you were able to have success under Bill Belichick with? Is there a through line there that you identify? Somebody like you is uniquely qualified to notice something like that. Have you seen anything?
Well, absolutely. So I'm a full-time professor now at Bryant University. So I'm a higher
really?
person. So I am naturally now a little bit more arrogant and and entitled. And although I don't have a number 2 pencil behind my ear, I feel like I'm a super geek.
You got the Super Bowl. You got 2 Super Bowl trophies, so that's good. Yeah.
So I teach a class on organizational leadership and communication in sport. And we spend 2 weeks just on coaching style and, characteristics of great coaches, traits that they have. We compare and contrast. We have coaches come in and speak. And all the great coaches always have probably I have 6 characteristics, but they all have 4 of the 6 that I would like to say. And the greatest ones have all of them, right? And Mike absolutely does. Mike will never really compare himself to Bill. He'll compare himself to all his college coach, his high school coach, Romeo Crennel. He'll brag about those types of players, and he won't really use Bill as much as we all naturally would think. He just doesn't. But there's a ton of similarities between him. The number one trait that I would think, like as an older player, that I really, really respected, and I was absolutely jonesing for, was just a smart, knowledgeable coach. What used to drive me crazy, and people hate that I say this, but it's the truth. When I left the Patriots, I signed for the Washington Redskins. I was like, wow, I'm going to go from Bill Belichick to Joe Gibbs. Like, whoa, what, out of the frying pan, like into like a cool drink of water. Like I was excited. Sat in the front row, Pete. I was amazed at how disconnected he was, not only with the players, but the knowledge of the game at the time. I was shaking my head.
This is
going,
like 2005, right? 2006, around then?
Yeah, it was like my second to last year in the league.
Yeah, he did his second tour of duty. I remember you were on one of those teams. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the team was horrible. The decision-making was inconsistent. Like, I remember the offensive coordinator fighting with the defensive coordinator during a game. I was like, who the hell is in charge?
Dude, I remember him and Joe Bugle and a bunch of guys like hovering around each other on the sidelines. It didn't seem like it was real. There was a lot of continuity there.
No, and those guys were all old, right?
Yeah, very
They're great guys. Joe Bugles, I love him. But it was Al Saunders as the offensive coordinator, and then Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator. It was like this. It was like this.
Really?
And it was a disaster. So, like, when I think about like his traits as an older player, you really respect his knowledge of the game, and you understand, like, if you get like these guys, these coaches are experts in their field. They're master class type people, like master surgeons, AI techs. They're the Elon Musk of their profession. They have to be experts. And a lot of them aren't. They're stupid. And that would drive me crazy as an older player, because when we get into a game, we shouldn't lose a game because you're dumb and or you're reckless, or you're calling a play because of your gut. That drove me crazy. So that's the first thing. The second thing is every single young player says this, and this is just the way of the world. Man, if you can't relate to them, if you can't get down on their level, if you can't coach them the way they want to be coaches, they will resist. They absolutely will resist, and they will act out, And I would say those are the two most impressive things that I recognize from in the short period of time. We're not even at the end of the season. They still have 4 games left.
Dude, I love the idea of your class. So it's at Bryant University?
Yeah.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. Because I love that stuff. I love, for my father, it was like reading books about General Patton. For me, it's about listening to audiobooks about Bill Belichick over and over again. And even though, I want to ask you a question about that connection, because you learn more and more, even with a stoic guy like Bill Belichick. He talks about, hey, you have to connect with these guys. They have to know that you care and love them, care for them and love them. Was that the case with him? Because it's so hard to imagine that from 30,000 feet. But did you guys feel that? No. Okay.
No.
Well, that's what he says. I'm so happy I'm talking to you.
I will say this, though. People ask me about, no, I didn't have any talk. I rarely talked with him. And if we did, it was, about sports. There was never any small talk. I don't think he ever asked me about my family once. I know he didn't know how many kids I had. And I just didn't care. People ask me about Bill all the time. And I say, and I always make sure I say, for me, because I was at a time, I was looking for something very specific when I was going into year 8 of my career. He provided that. I wanted brutal honesty. I wanted high-level intelligence, and I wanted a chance to win, and I wanted a competitive environment, and I wanted a locker room that wasn't filled with a bunch of knuckleheads. I was just done with it. So going into that locker room, listen, he gave me everything I wanted, so I could care less if he never said anything to me. I knew if I was doing a good job, I knew what I was doing a bad job. My relationship was really with my position coach, Jeff Davidson, who I actually have what I call a Jeff Davidson rule. He'll get a kick out of this in my class. Like this is because it was something that he used to say to us every day before we went out into the field, and I incorporated that into my class for projects, announcements, presentations, scheduling. And they all know what the Jeff Davidson rule is. You can ask all of them and they'll say, oh, this is what it means. We hate it. But Bill he was fine, but he's not putting his arm around you. He's not asking you, hey, are you okay? He's not doing any of that stuff. But that's what the other coaches and the assistant coaches are for.
So can you tell me what, I'm not the brightest bulb. What exactly is the Jeff Davidson rule?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I probably should have told you. Yeah. That's why you're the host. Okay.
Hey, I'm paying attention. I promise. I'm on every word here.
When I was playing for the Patriots, so Jeff would go over all this stuff. He would put all these plays in. He would say, you're this guy, you're the F, you're the H, you're going to take these speed, you're going to be the goal line Y, you're going to do this. On third down, you're going to do this. He would give us all this information, tons of information and direction. So we knew exactly what was expected of us, right? Spent the whole day doing this. And before we walked out of the meeting room, he would say, of course, everything is subject to change. Like
that's life.
And exactly, that is life. And, and it would change. Like, even if it was like playing time, hey, I'm going to get you into the third quarter. I'll make sure you get some reps. Third quarter would come around. Well, the dynamics of the game changed, so I can't get you in. So I really respected that from him because he was like, listen, this is what I want to do, but everything is subject to change. And that's what I tell my students. Like, it may snow one day. Somebody gets sick. You know what? I drank too much the night before. I didn't finish the lecture, So everything is subject to change, right? And I think the coach needs to say that, because, nobody's out to get you, Shedeur Sanders. Nobody's out to ruin your career, Deion Sanders. Like, that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah. Don't play the victim. I like that a lot. If you were to drop somebody, because you mentioned locker rooms, and I thought of this. If you were to drop some of today's modern day players into your Patriots locker room from, the dynasty era, what do you think would shock them the most? What would be the most jarring thing for today's player?
Wow. Good question, Pete. What would be the most jarring? I think it would just be what we talked about. Just lack of empathy. I think empathy and sympathy, and people think they're the same. They're not. They're completely different.
What do you mean by that? Like, people think like as far as like there's levels to this, right?
Well, how can if you just dropped a pass, empathy, I like if I've never dropped a pass, one, I would never know. I wouldn't know how you feel. And if you dropped a pass in the Super Bowl, I never was thrown a pass in the Super Bowl. So how would I know how you really feel if I've never done it? Sympathy is different. Sympathetic is like, listen, I'm sorry. I hope you're doing okay. Like, do you need anything? It's totally different. And that's what I would think, that there was a lack of that, like empathy and sympathy when I was playing. It was really, and I kind of admired that. I kind of liked it because Pete, I grew up like that, So yeah. I wasn't a stranger to it. My kids now, like I got 5 kids and they all play sports, and they're always like, you're so mean and you're so tough. And, listen, I have high standards. I'm not going to apologize for them. And I'm not going to allow you to do it either, and they all struggle. When they get a coach that is like that, like Bill, they all struggle. Like, if they get someone who's like Mike, who is like Pete Carroll, who everybody thinks is a big softie, like Pete's not a softie, like, and Mike's not a softie. Like, they are compassionate, right? They are sympathetic, but they expect a lot. Bill he was just like this, like didn't deviate at all.
Does a guy like Christian Fauria, is he able to, when his kids are pissed at him, can you shake that off and just keep rolling into life, or do you carry that with you? How do you navigate that?
Dude, I don't even know. I don't even know. I tell you what, oh my God, like that is a challenge to this day. I've learned, so my youngest now is 13 and she's just getting ready to go to high school. I would see the one thing I get more than anything is the eye roll. I get a lot of eye rolling, and I tried to tell them, I said, like, I was pretty good at this. I know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The greatest coaching tool that I have, that I use, is like video. Like I try to show them, like, forget about me. This is what you look like. And that seems to be.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But even then, Pete, it's like each kid's got imagine this. Imagine you're coaching like I have 5 kids and their personalities are extremely different. Highs and lows, and their skill level is different, and what they need and their coaching situation was different. Imagine having like 60 of those guys, 100 of those guys on a football. Imagine the popsicle headache you would get trying to navigate that. It's amazing.
Take me back onto the football field. Drake Maye's development this year. If you could use one word to summarize it, what is it?
Ooh, I mean, this is probably lazy, but I've been using. He's elite. Like, and people throw elite around like it's candy, and he is high level elite, like C-suite level CEO type. He's just he's so unbelievable. His personality is perfect for this position. And I don't know, maybe it's because he's the youngest of 4 boys. I don't know, but he's obviously very intelligent. He's extremely bright. He's tough as hell. He's not an error repeater. If he messes up once, he and if you correct him, he usually figures it out, and you're not going to catch him twice. So I mean, it's from a physical standpoint, he's very gifted.
Yeah.
But the quarterback of a team needs to like Dak Prescott, I think is a great example of a CEO. He carries himself well, he walks well, he looks good. He's not that he's attractive, but like he knows. You look at him and go, wow, this guy can be a leader of a company. Right. Yes. People will follow him. Right. He's very careful with his words. He never blames anybody.
Seems to be unflappable. He'll turn it over, and then the next series, it's erased. I appreciate that about Dak and about Drake Maye.
Yeah. I mean, there's other guys too, but, I always hate it. Like, I was a leader in college. I was a leader in the pros. I've always been a captain, or no matter where I go. And I always want my kids to be captains. Right. And with that comes a certain burden and a responsibility that a lot of people don't want anything to do with. Because there's so much scrutiny on them, and then you become a jerk and nobody wants to listen to you. But I think that, with Drake, he's young, so he's not as vocal. He's bright enough to know that there's other guys in the room that can speak better with more knowledge, right? So he's only in his 2nd year, and so he recognizes that. Listen, it's hard to do. And then when he does speak, he says just enough. And listen, the New England region is Drake Maye psychotic right now. Like, it is amazing. He actually came to Bryant University to speak, right? Through this program that the school has and the students have. They sold that place out. They were going. He's like a rock star. I mean, he's the most un-rock star guy you could ever imagine. Drives a truck. There's no real flash about him. He doesn't carry a Louis Vuitton bag. He doesn't have, $500 sunglasses. He's already married. Not like that means anything. But in my head, I'm like, he ain't going out at night. He ain't looking for anything. Yeah. He none of that stuff. I just think I think they really, golly, man, they hit that pick on the nose.
God, that is so. A couple more questions for you, because I've already kept you pretty long. When you look at the Patriots this weekend against the Bills, obviously a huge game. Look, we talked about it off the top. A chance to win the division. When you look at this team long term this season, and this is maybe a lazy question to steal from you, but like, what is the ceiling? Like, is this a team that could win the Super Bowl?
The Patriots, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, that's not hyperbole. That's not an exaggeration. I think I would say just stick to the AFC. Let's talk about going to the Super Bowl. Let's not worry about winning it. I think they absolutely can go to the Super Bowl. I look at all the AFC teams. I don't think there's any team in the AFC that I'm like, holy crap. They have it at all 3 phases. I would say 4 phases, right? Defense, offense, special teams, coach, right? Because some of them have two of the 4, and they're missing the coach, right? But yeah, absolutely. Now there are some teams that I would say scare me, based on, like I think the issues that the Patriots are going to have, if they won against the Houston Texans, right? They can't block them. Their front five, they can't block them, especially the left side with 2 rookies. They're going to struggle. But I would say, all right, if you tell me that, I would say, well, Josh McDaniels is pretty good at creating and dealing with those types of scenarios. And if you win, if you get home field advantage, you're not going to have to go to Houston. So don't even worry about it. The other aspect I would say is, they just have the other like cliche that people use is complementary football. I hear every analyst say it. I don't think they know what it even means. And for an example, what usually happens is like any coach, if he's worth anything, will recognize the situation and go like, okay, holy crap, they got Peyton Manning, they got Patrick Mahomes. Like our drives have to be long. They have to be, we need to run the ball, right? So we have to commit to running the ball, and then even to pair that, we're going to snap the ball with 2 seconds left on the clock. So we would practice it when we played against Peyton Manning. We can't give him extra possessions. And when it comes to 4-minute offense, we can't give him the ball back. No, we can't give him 10 seconds. So there was an added amount of pressure on the offensive coordinator to create an offense that would complement the defense and based on what they needed to do to give them a break, to make it easier on them, right? So if you get them off the field on 3rd down, you can't go 3 and out. They haven't taken a drink of. So that's kind of, I think that and to answer your question after a long-winded answer, is
great answer though.
Absolutely, Pete. Absolutely can go to the Super Bowl. This isn't the fly-by-night. I mean, they have some issues like every team.
Yeah.
But I think they can manage theirs better than other teams that would be in the playoffs.
All right, one more for you. Another one that'll hit close to home. I was lucky enough to call a handful of games with another Buffalo, Chad Brown, and Colorado Buffalo. Chad was on with us last week, and I asked him, what is the fix for Colorado with all that's going on? Last year was so exciting, but as somebody who covers the conference and has called some games of theirs, I felt like it was finite. I did. I didn't know that we were long for that experience. And this next year, or this year, has kind of shown some holes in the overall football program. What do you think lies next for Colorado? And if you think there's issues, how would you fix it? What do you think the remedy is?
Well, that's a loaded question. My quick answer is that I'm get a new coach.
Okay. Yeah.
Get a new coach. I think what Deion has done in the short term is pretty fantastic. I just don't know how committed he is, to that job. Too much turnover. Too much. Every team deals with loss of players, but I feel like the messaging is inconsistent. His knowledge of the game, I think, is subpar at best. All you have to do is watch the end of the games. Marketing wise, he's done wonders for that school. They got a big monitor, big screen right at the end zone. Right, they're in debt. So I just don't know what you're selling. I don't. And if you're going to be the face of the program, then you have to be, you have to be in the guts of the program. You have to be there every day. That has to be all you do. And you can't constantly, turn over your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator. I don't know, dude. I just feel like, I feel like it's a mess. And, and that's just my personal opinion. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I don't have a problem with it. I don't know anybody on that staff. I just watching it from afar, I'm not impressed.
All right, last question for you. I appreciate your candor on that answer too. Last question. I love college football, right? I feel like it's in my bones, but the transactional, even now, with the whole thing, the Sharon Moore thing, okay, that sucks. It's such a shame. But now we have this job opening up at Michigan, and they're talking about Kalen DeBoer, who's the head coach of Alabama, who, when you and I were growing up, what other job would a college football coach want? And now we're talking about a guy coaching at Alabama who would maybe leave in the midst of a playoff run. And I get it. At some point in time, all these coaches are getting fired. So they're trying to do what's best for them. But that alongside with the player movement, like, have you noticed a shift that is that I guess like kind of has put a bug up your ass like it has mine? And I think that's an example of me kind of getting a little older too. I try to be really introspective, but there is like, it's like, dude, like there's no loyalty anywhere anymore. It kind of blows my mind.
I won't watch it anymore. I'm done with college football. Like the
kidding.
Product, I can't watch it. And I love college football. I love that aspect of it. But the adults have fucked it up so badly. They have absolutely messed this up, like beyond belief. The greed, the bias, the jealousy, the envy, all of it makes me sick. It's sick. Like the networks that like have their hands in everything, and like the committee, it's like who votes. It's like it's just, they all exist in imagination land. I can't stomach it anymore. Right? I just, the money, it's just, oh God, dude. I just like, again, I'll go back. I actually, in one of my classes, I challenged the students. One of their midterm projects was to fix the NCAA and fix college football. That was their project. I gave them all the excuses, all these reasons of how screwed up it is. And went over whole days, 2 days, 2 weeks worth of information. And none of them could fix it. None of them. It was like a capstone. And that's my point with it. I just, even like recently with the, how they decide like who plays. I can't stand it anymore. That's why I love the NFL. The NFL is just real simple. We can sit here and be like, who do you think is going to make it? Who's going to win the AFC East or AFC North? Like, what do you think about who do you think? Do you think Cincinnati can figure it out? We're just playing house. We're just in imagination land, but we really have no say. We have absolutely no say on who goes and when and why. Zero.
The players and the play on the field decide.
That's it. That's all that matters. And so college football, to me, I'm embarrassed for it. Like I wanted, like, it makes me sick to not only see what it's turned into. And I knew once they made this rule, once the NIL became a thing, and the whole Ed O'Bannon case, really, you saw the benefit of Ed O'Bannon and what he did and
the name, image, and likeness stuff and all that.
And then now I was like, man, they can't. They just, that's Pandora's box. There's not a chance in hell that they're ever going to be able to control this. And I don't see it ever ending. It's just, and maybe it's good for the sport. Maybe us disagreeing, yelling and screaming, bitching and complaining is good for the sport. To me, I have no desire to even watch it. I think this was my last year. I'm officially tapping out.
Well, guess what? You ain't tapping out of here. You're coming back at some point, dude. Seriously, Christian, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the energy, the intellect. You've been in my life for a long time, and to finally meet you is real cool, man. Christian Fauria, I cannot thank you enough.
Yeah, listen, this is like therapy for me. I just got so much off my chest. You asked me about Colorado, Deion Sanders. Wow, that's going to get some play. Get rid of the coach. I'm sure they're all going to like that. He's the problem. College football in general. Coaching, all this stuff. I love it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we share a lot of the same opinions, so I appreciate it. It was therapy for me too, Christian. Take care, man. And anything you need to plug, anything going on with you? I mean, I know you're on TV all the time. Any next place people can see you? Anything?
You will see me at the Super Bowl.
Okay.
If any of your listeners or anybody's there, I'm taking 10 students. We are creating our own Radio Row sports radio show. So I will have 3 different shows taking up 6 hours down in San Francisco. Yeah, I just created a whole specialized program, advanced broadcasting program. So so if you're down there, let's do this.
Our boy Chris Visser's leading the charge. We'll see you out there, man. Thank you so much, Christian. I appreciate you, dude.
All right, see you guys.
Wow. That was pretty amazing. Christian Fauria, he is always, dynamite on the football field. And every time he's on TV, you can't take your eyes off him. And the fact that he was on this show, dropping knowledge like that, makes me feel pretty good today. I think we're pretty fortunate to have had a guy like that on. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back, wrap this up on a Friday from Flower Mound. We are presented by Slovacics. Scotty Swingler, take us to break.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, your bank for life.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble does bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Sousa to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Sousa. That's S-O-U-S-A. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Hey, guys, how amazing was that? I mean, holy mackerel. And I'm not talking about the Underdog commercial, although I will talk about Underdog here quickly. It's a blast, and it's not gambling. You're playing, and the opportunity to win is right there for you. And Scotty has some great picks, and he has had some, I don't even want to call it luck because Scotty's such a bright guy and he's so dialed in. Download that Underdog app, man, and really promo code Sousa, have some fun. And by the way, that's when you know it's AI, because you're supposed to say my name, Sousa, like give it a little Z, but what are you going to do? I used to say it's Sousa. Apparently when they came over the boat, over on the boat from Portugal or something, somebody at some point sold out and took the Z away and turned it to S-O-U-S-A. So here we are. Wow. The whole Christian Fauria thing, like, I'm blown away by what he said about Deion and what he said about college football overall. Little sharper of a take than I have on Deion, but I mean, it certainly moves me in one direction because that guy knows more about football, college football, and certainly Colorado than I do. What he said about college football just confirms to me, and I'm not saying that he's part of an overwhelming majority, but it's happening. And I'm not like some doomsdayer that's saying that like there's no end of college football coming, but it is happening, guys. Like there are people who are very frustrated by what's going on now. And there are fans who are kind of pushing away from it, you know, backing away from the buffet table. It's not gonna look, college football is a monster. And I so appreciate my relationship with ESPN and the ability to call games. But yeah, pretty interesting. By the way, I got like my college basketball schedule over the course of the next month. I'll probably have a couple more games that are added in late January, but I'm stoked, man. I got a game, Kansas game, Arizona State, Kansas. I think that's early February. I got like the Peacock games in advance, right? BYU game against Arizona State in Provo, and then there's a West Virginia game at Kansas State and another one too that I'm forgetting. And then most of the ESPN. So that's like, I get my Big 12 fix there, which I'm so fortunate to be connected to the Big 12 and still calling hoops there. And then for college basketball and ESPN, I'm doing a lot of, you know, I wish I was a guy like John Shambi, right? Or Dan Schulman, but I'm not. So I've gotten a lot of, most all my games now are on what is considered linear TV, like ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPNU, but they're more like American Conference, which I'm stoked about that. I mean, I know a lot about the American, and it's always cool to be on like what they call over-the-air linear TV. And I still get that Big 12 fix. So it's about, and honestly, I say that just because I want to share it, but I also say it because it's going to be, we're all going to be nimble here coming up over the next month once January hits. We'll be doing a lot of shows from the road, and you know, a lot of shows here in Flower Mound. We got to get a new camera here. There's a lot of stuff, man. I went over. I'm going to take you guys behind the curtain, right? So there's a new studio for Rogue Media that's going to be over on Elm Street. So we're moving out of the Alico building, right? And I go over there yesterday. And I like to think, right, that I'm like kind of important to this network, right? Like you would think, hey, this Pete does a pretty good job, more than 90,000 subscribers, you know, where other people, and nobody at Rogue Media, by the way, this is not Rogue Media, but other people might go out and like, you know, drum up like subs, like some other way. Like ours are totally legit, organic, you know, like sometimes I'll try to put some promotion behind videos because nobody else will promote my stuff. So I'll do it myself because legit nobody will promote myself but me, which is fine. But we go over to this new studio, right? Where like, I'm going to do my show. And it's like, there was like zero thought about like how I would do what my look would be over there. It's just like, oh, okay, like here's where like, you know, 365 does theirs. And, you know, Paul Catalina is going to host the Tonight Show over here. By the way, I kept like literally, like if you guys know Paul, he's a funny guy. But apparently he's going to do like a late night show, which will be kind of crazy, right? Which is, I just think of this. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Waco, Texas. You've seen him at the Laugh-In. You've seen him at the Comedy Store. You've seen him at Chuckles. And now you see him on Rogue Media Late Night, Paul Catalina. So they got like a Tonight Show set for Paul. And I'm like, yo, like I have a certain look and feel to my show. Like this right here that Christy put up for me, right? When I was initially brought over to Rogue, they were like, what kind of studio do you want? So I showed Corey and like, he was so awesome. Like got me pictures and they outfitted the exposed brick like I want. Then I go over yesterday to this place on Elm Street and it's like, oh yeah, like here's Paul's Tonight Show set. I'm like, what? Paul's got like Doc Severinsen and Ed McMahon, and I'm just trying to find a place where I can do my show over there. So I'm trying to figure out like if I'm just getting lost. I will tell you guys this, and this is therapeutic for me. Like the squeaky wheel, my friends, gets the grease. Like, remember that. I'm never going to change who I am, so I'm never going to squeak. But if you're young and you want some grease, squeak a little. Like, start now, because you may start getting some grease, because I don't really squeak, dude. I show up to work, I do my job, I produce, and I go home, and then I promote with my own money and my own time. But like, maybe I should have an idea to I got an idea, guys. All right. I love Paul. I love 365. I'm venting a little bit. I get to be human, right? It's my show. What did Scotty say? He just texted me. He probably texted me like, yeah, your walking papers are here. All right. let's take it easy and get out of here. But we will be back Monday. We got some big guests. Maybe we can do you guys think we can promote? We'll have to find out exactly what's happening, but we may have an opportunity if we work hard enough. Maybe we can have some promotions, you know? I don't know, like the hey, let's get him in here. Oh man. All right. We'll see you guys on Monday. I love you. I really do. And thanks so much to Christian Fauria. Thanks so much to Chris Visser, Scotty Swingler, and of course, Truth Serum. This doesn't happen without Corey Dickman, and it doesn't happen without John Valade. And I love Rogue, and you know, but I'm entitled to a little bit of shit talking here and there. Sorry, Visser. We'll see you Monday.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference, because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.